senators, and representatives, I have the distinguished honor
After the Civil
of
War, the
presenting
United States underwent tremendous economic changes. One of the most fascinating and significant industries to emerge was the cattle kingdom. The story of how it grew and thrived offers insight into the resilience and ingenuity of those who helped feed a nation and the sacrifices they made along the way. The origins of the cattle kingdom are deeply rooted in Mexican ranching traditions. Mexican vaqueros, skilled cattle herders, brought techniques like roping, branding, and herding to the Southwest. These methods were adopted by American ranchers, particularly in Texas, where the iconic Longhorn cattle, descendants of Spanish herds, roamed freely. Longhorns were ideal for the open range, tough, adaptable, and able to travel long distances. With the Civil War over and millions of Longhorns available, ranchers saw an opportunity to meet the growing demand for beef in the industrialized cities of the East. The challenge was transporting the cattle to these markets. The solution? Cattle drives, epic journeys from Texas to railheads in states like Kansas, where cattle could be shipped to eastern cities by rail. These drives were long and grueling, often lasting several months and covering hundreds of miles. Trails like the Chisholm Trail and the Goodnight-Loving Trail became famous routes. Cowboys, many of them young men in their teens or 20s, faced dangers including stampedes, river crossings, and extreme weather. They also had to fend off cattle rustlers and navigate conflicts with Native American tribes. The life of a cowboy, though romanticized in movies and folklore, was anything but glamorous. Cowboys worked long days in the saddle for little pay, often around $30 a month. They faced isolation, exhaustion, and constant physical strain. Primary sources like Andy Adams' The Log of a Cowboy provide vivid accounts of this life. Adams describes the intense demands of driving cattle across the open plains, offering a rare, first-hand look into the emotional and physical toll of the job. The rise of railroads transformed the cattle industry. Towns like Abilene, Dodge City, and Wichita became bustling rail hubs where herds were driven and loaded onto trains bound for markets in cities like Chicago. The completion of the Transcontinental Railroad in 1869 connected eastern markets with western producers, making it easier and faster to ship beef across the country. These railroads amplified economic opportunities for ranchers while turning cattle towns into centers of commerce and, occasionally, lawlessness. The cattle kingdom brought tremendous wealth to some, but it wasn't without its challenges. Over time, overgrazing depleted resources on the open range. Harsh winters, particularly during the Great Blizzard of 1886 to 87, decimated cattle herds, leading to massive financial losses for ranchers. The invention of barbed wire by Joseph Glidden in 1874 revolutionized the industry. Ranchers began fencing off their land to protect their herds, but this sparked conflicts known as range wars between cattle ranchers and farmers. The introduction of fencing marked the end of the open-range system and the era of the long cattle drives. The cattle kingdom had a profound cultural impact, shaping the image of the American cowboy as a symbol of independence, resilience, and grit. Cowboys came from diverse backgrounds, including African Americans, Mexican Americans, and Native Americans, contributing to the rich tapestry of the industry. Economically, the cattle industry laid the foundation for the modern beef supply chain. The practices and innovations developed during this period continue to influence large-scale ranching and meatpacking operations today. The story of the cattle kingdom is one of ambition, innovation, and hard work. It provided a crucial link between the growing urban centers of the East and the vast resources of the West. At the same time, it highlighted the precarious balance between opportunity and hardship. As we reflect on this period, we can honor the cowboys and ranchers who braved incredible odds to help build a nation. Their legacy reminds us of the power of perseverance and the price of progress.